network of women's shelters and transition houses reported 416 women and children affected by intimate partner violence reached out for shelter on a single day. Of those, 305 had to be turned away due to lack of capacity, and in the same report, nearly 76% of shelters said they had relied on food donations to meet the needs of women or assist them when leaving the shelter. I'll table that. So is the Premier satisfied with his government's funding levels that leave transition houses in Nova Scotia without enough beds or food to meet the needs of women and children?
The Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the honourable member for the question. Even though the Minister of Community Services and Status of Women is not here today, I want to thank her for the tremendous work that she's been doing, not only as the Minister, but prior to coming to this House, working with our partners across this province. Mr. Speaker, I think quite frankly, the question is offensive to everyone who in the right mind would suggest that anyone would be okay with anyone being abused in any circumstance across our province or indeed across our country. Of course, we're going to continue to work with our partners to ensure that we provide those services to Nova Scotians, and we're going to continue to stand by women and children in this province and do the right thing to make sure that at least, Mr. Speaker, in their own homes they can feel safe, and ensure that in this province, Mr. Speaker, it will be a priority of this government, and we'll continue to make sure that women and children are safe in this province.
The honourable member for Truro, Bible Hill, Millbrook, Salmon River.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'd like to point out it's just a question, and this is, after all, question period. So in spite of the Liberal election promise to ensure women's centres, shelters and transition houses had the financial ability to make long-range plans to help vulnerable women and children, these organizations are facing a perfect storm of increasingly complex needs of service users plus stagnant government funding. So my question for the Premier is this: how much time and effort does the Premier expect not-for-profit organizations to spend on fundraising versus providing services to these vulnerable clients?
The Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank our partners across this province who have been working with our government, Mr. Speaker. I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, they'll spend less time fundraising under this government than they did under that government after the cuts that took place to women and children in this province.